Hello everyone, Ken and Loey here, this time with the Harvest League review. So typically when a new league comes out, I spend time to see how the mechanics are and voice my thoughts on it. So for Harvest League, it is primarily focused on crafting. But before we get into the league mechanics,
I cannot do this yet.
there has been a lot of changes to various skills. So first of all of the warcries have been reworked to have a different function than they did before. So warcries before, you would just use them to get a passive buff, basically, of some sort. They usually weren't super, how do I say it? They weren't super impactful for the most part, besides possibly the Enduring Cry instant Warcry build. But for all of the other Warcries, for the most part, they weren't super impactful. But they added more Warcries to begin with, as well as reworking all of the old ones. So I'm using a new one called Seismic Cry, which works very well with all slam skills. And they also reworked all of the slam skills to have more of an emphasis on doing huge amounts of damage in one hit, rather than focusing on faster attacks like any other skills. So they really hit home the high alpha damage focus and high area of effect. So just like that. And Tectonic Slam that I'm using here has 5% more area of effect per endurance charge. And that's huge. Like, if you really go crazy on it, you can get up to 11 endurance charges, and you can really get that area of effect out there. But they pretty much did a similar rework with all of the slam skills. I think Ground Slam was probably changed the least, but so, like, as a kind of a scale, you go from Ground Slam to not really being changed much at all, but then Tectonic Slam and then some new slam skills being changed significantly. And then stuff like Enduring Cry is a lot more impactful. It's kind of like a second guard skill if you use it properly, as well as getting those endurance charges, and it gives massive amounts of life regen in 1 second. And then Infernal Cry gives you another sort of explosion skill, as well as making enemies explode. It's kind of like a Warcry to get an explosive chest modifier. So with that out of the way, I am a Tectonic Slam Chieftain, so pretty much going the typical fire damage conversion nodes from the Chieftain, and honestly focusing more on critical hits and just pure damage rather than area of effect, which is kind of ironic. But anyway, so on the league mechanic itself. So when you get to a new zone, I'll just put that there just so that I have it with me.
I cannot do this yet.
Let's go to the classic demonstration area of the Ossuary. And I'm level 75 with this character. I decided to do 2 different characters this league rather than one. In the last league, when I made the Hollow Palm character, there was only like a month of the league left, and that just wasn't really enough time to realistically get the most optimal gear. So this league, I decided to do multiple characters right from the get-go. So if I can find where the mechanic is, that would be great. Oh, and then also there are more supports with slams and Warcries as well. So you see that like ancestral figure for like every other slam. That is a new support for slams that gives you massive increases in damage for one hit every so often. So you find the seed cache, and then you just get a bunch of seeds. So far, harvest is taking the farming aspect of games literally. And when you get that seed cache, you get various amounts of seeds, and each one has a special effect. And so for an example, this one gives you a random caster mod crafting effect when harvested, a random socket color craft, a physical craft. Basically every single type of craft in the game, there is a seed that gives you that effect. And Oshabi is the character of this league. So the main mechanic of this league is that you put these seeds down. Typically the easiest way to do that is by just doing the auto plant. If you're doing just tier 1 seeds, which is all the seeds that you get from the seed deposits, it doesn't really matter where you place them as long as they're under a harvester of the right color. So for an example, purple seeds go with the purple one, and etc. And every time that you kill the monsters from those seeds, the seeds grow over time. So every time you get a new seed cache, that gives you a certain amount of time towards the growth of your seeds. And once they're ready to harvest, they spawn monsters, and then you kill them before you get the crafts. And every time that you do tier 1 seeds, you can get tier 2 seeds that have special requirements. And from tier 2 you can get tier 3 seeds. And tier 3, as far as I know, is the highest tier of seed. And I haven't actually done any tier 2 seeds as far as I know, or higher, so I'm not quite familiar with how powerful those crafts are compared to the normal ones, normal tier 1 versions. They might have a higher chance of getting higher tier mods. I really don't know. But let's go to one of my harvesters that has plenty of monsters ready. So as soon as you have enough time to get this all filled up, then it's ready to be harvested. And then you click harvest, and then each harvester has modifiers to what mods are on the monsters. So for these, they have increased life force, more damage, more life, and everything. So you can kind of farm these for items, since they have more item rarity, more item quantity, and everything, but in complete honesty, I wouldn't really recommend it. Like, with how Harvest is set up, it's pretty much only for the crafts. Like, you might get decent items from it, but the crafts are the main focus. So it gives you a second to get ready, and then you can kill the monsters. And then here I got a tier 2 seed from that. So very good. So I'll just put that in there for... Actually, I'll put that in my normal stash. So, when you kill a group of enemies, you get a whole list of crafts as well as this other stuff that I'll get into in a little bit. So, you can get socket crafts like linking 3 to 4 sockets. I have actually gotten a free 5 link from harvesting. So I'm guessing if you have a high enough level seed, there might be a possibility of getting a 6 link outright. And there is also other modifiers like reforging items with different modifiers, so essentially giving you a chaos orb effect. And then there's also ones that is basically a free alchemy orb where you reforge a normal item into a rare item, but giving it a more chance of getting a specific mod on it and whatnot. So I have a lot of like defense modifiers and stuff on here, so I don't actually have any base items that I need crafted right now. and the armor that I have is working decently enough. Basically, I'm at the point where I need higher level bases and whatnot to actually have better gear for myself. But so basically I can't use any of, I don't have anything to use this on, but this is very powerful. Especially the weapon crafts are pretty ridiculous. And then that's why I have this, the two axes that I crafted these myself. Okay, so this dagger axe is a level 36 item, and I crafted it to have flat physical damage and a percent physical damage mod on it. This one actually has accuracy and physical damage as well. And then I crafted attack speed on it using the normal crafting bench. And it gave me 132 damage to 221. When I equipped this, I literally gained, I think, double the damage that I was dealing. And this isn't actually that hard to get decent rolls on these mods either. I think I only rolled this once or twice to get what I had gotten out of it. And same thing with the current axe that I have. I got physical damage and accuracy again, and a better flat physical damage roll on it, as well as critical strike multiplier. And then I just went and crafted a percentage physical damage roll from the crafting bench. So in total I have 120% physical damage and then flat physical damage. So I mean, I don't have like a calculator or something like to tell me what the weapon DPS is, but once again, I think I got this crafting amount within like 2 or 3 rolls, and it has been working out pretty well for me. And my DPS is 30,000, and as well as my ascendancy decides to kick in, then I get over 50,000 right there in damage. And from doing that right at the very start of maps without really very high amounts of effort, like that to me is amazing. And while I haven't tried to craft anything like super amazing yet for endgame related stuff or influenced items or anything, so I don't know how easy it is to get specific rolls on items. Like if you want Tailwind Boots, for an example, with Hunter Influence, I have no idea if there's a craft that really makes that easy to obtain or not. But I have to say that, especially from the leveling point of view, this crafting system really made leveling feel good. Especially with characters that rely on high weapon damage. Like I had, my first character is a Pathfinder that uses Cobra Lash and Claws. And with this crafting system, it wasn't a problem to make half-decent weapons from that. And then also for the defense mods, you can also get ones like reforges with elemental mods, like fire and whatnot, and that'll make it much easier to gain a certain resistance and whatnot. Basically, this crafting system allows me to get into crafting in a way that personally I just had no interest in. And usually when crafting, like, using chaos orbs to me from a mental point of view is like the forbidden thing, because of using chaos to just buy everything, since chaos orbs are the general currency that's used. I pretty much refuse to use chaos orbs. But this allows me to get into crafting in definitely in a way that I definitely wouldn't otherwise. So with that, the other thing is that you can get different harvesters from using the life force. So basically each amount of this is how much life force you use for each craft. And as you see here with the number here, I do believe that's the number of seeds of that specific type that you planted. And that means that you have 4 uses of this craft, and then some of these, 1, 2, and etc. And then you have the life force amount. So every time that you use a craft, like, you don't have an unlimited amount of the crafts that you get from this. It's not an unlimited crafting bench for free. And every time that you use this, you drain up the life force and everything. So the harvesters allow you to have more space to do seeds and everything. Pylons connect the harvesters to storage tanks. So what storage tanks do is that they allow you to store the life force outside of the harvesters. The harvesters can only hold 50 by themselves, but the storages can hold 300, I do believe. And those can be used to fertilize higher tier seeds. So that's how you get into like the higher tier farming stuff. And then this thing right here, create Hort if crafting station, that allows you to store crafts that you have. So for an example, if you have a really good craft that you have on here that you really want to keep, you can store that craft in one of these if you get the 1800 in one place to actually buy one. And of course I don't have one, so I have no idea how exactly it works, but from what it sounds like, that is very good. So what I'm going to do is probably just create more storage tanks. And then, of course, I only have 73 left, and then probably 2 dispensers, and then a pylon. So, with this league, in the seed stockpile, you can store all of your harvesters, all of your pylons, storage tanks, and everything, and your seeds in this tab. So basically, at least as of this league, you don't need to buy a separate storage tab or use one of your storage tabs to hold all of the league items. That is something that pretty much every league has done to this point, is force you to use either one of your normal tabs or part of your currency tab to hold all of the various items the league had to offer. But with this one, they had a way of having you have a tab without needing to purchase it. And the pylons, yeah, like I said, you can attach them to the storage tanks from the harvesters. So I thought there was one other thing I was gonna say. Oh, right. So the Sacred Grove is always in an instance that is outside of like your hideout and stuff, because it has monsters in it. So if you go in the Sacred Grove within a map, all of the monsters in here will have the mods of that map. And you might be wondering, well, what if I have a crafting item in my stash that I want to craft on, but I don't want to use a portal to go back to my hideout to grab the item? Well, they put in a way of toggling to your stash, grabbing your item, let's just say this item, and I can put it in here without actually going to my stash. So that is definitely worth noting and is definitely a really good feature. Personally, I just go to the Sacred Grove from my hideout itself, so I don't need to worry about limited portals. But if you want more of a challenge from the monsters, or if you want to take advantage of the modifiers of the seeds on the already map mods, you can potentially get some decent stuff. So they have a way of doing that. So pretty much from what I've seen, the quarry node, the quarry waypoint at level 93 in Act 9 is pretty much the easiest way to grind seeds and just put and then develop your sacred grove into just just this really functioning plantation of life force. So that is the gist of Harvest. So overall, I think I've pretty much stated what I thought about this league. Basically, this league has had me do crafting myself more than any other league, and I absolutely love it. I just, like I said, I don't know how easy it is to get specific mods on items, but if, especially while leveling and stuff, it is incredibly easy to at least get a half-decent item for yourself. And overall, that just makes leveling a complete non-issue, pretty much, for me. And then for higher level stuff, it gives you more of an opportunity of, let's just say if you have a higher level base of this, of getting higher rolls on the items and whatnot. So overall, I just think that this league has done a really good job on that front. And honestly, Delirium really, I didn't like the Delirium mechanic over time, especially doing it all the time, because Delirium, you have so many effects. You have on-death effects, you have the red explodey things, and you just have all of this stuff going on that you need to worry about that stops you from just having fun and, you know, looting what this game is all about, right? And it just got really annoying after a while. But with this league, not only is it not as much in your face, but like it doesn't have those annoying mechanics. I mean, unfortunately though, there are monsters from seeds that you can get that have on-death effects, and I really despise how they keep trying to push that. But I don't know. But overall, this league is definitely amazing, in my opinion. Like if you've never really crafted your own items before, this league gives you the opportunity of getting those crafts in without any problems. And with the slam skills rework and everything, it works out really well. The slam skills really feel meaty, and they did a really good job on that, doing what they wanted them to do. The only thing though that I wanted to mention was that they nerfed crit, at least somewhat, crit builds a little bit across the board, which I don't really understand why that was necessary. As well as they nerfed some other skills, like Soul of Steel no longer has like the reduced it doesn't have the flat added physical damage reduction anymore. Like just really odd things like that just either shake my head or scratch my head. That is just like, why was that necessary? Another thing before I am done here is that they pretty much nerfed two-handed uniques across the board, and that includes stuff like Starforge and Voidforge, saying that they were imbalanced. And honestly, you could easily craft something, well, okay, maybe not easily, but you could craft something that had similar, if not better characteristics, especially when it comes to crit builds, that were better than those weapons, and I just don't understand why they decided to nerf that. And even if they were overpowered, that was pretty much the only reason to kill Shaper, besides getting the Uber Elder fragments now. So, you know, various stuff like that that makes me worry for the future of Path of Exile, that is just kind of like, how are they coming up with stuff like this? But at the same time, whenever they rework something, for the most part, they have been pretty solid, and the feel of the game, when it comes to the gameplay loop of killing, as well as you know, just the variety of options, is the reason why I keep coming back to Path of Exile. But it's definitely one of those games where it's not flawless in the aspect of that it's all fun and games. There are definitely plenty of mechanics that annoy me annoy me to the extent of me not wanting to play, and I'm looking at you, XP penalty on death. But anyway, I'll stop rambling, and that's what we'll cut it for here for now. They also did a brand rework, I guess, so that's just a passing mention. But overall, I think this league is definitely 2 thumbs up for me. So thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful day.